Good afternoon, Trinity family. I hope you had an enjoyable New Year's weekend. I know that some of us were able to celebrate the results of a certain football game more than others. Let's just say I was disappointed in one particular result, but I don't want to dwell on that. What I want to share with you today is a preview of the sermon passages that we'll be looking at over the next several weeks. Last week we looked at Psalm 90, which is a prayer of Moses, in which he details the brevity of life, and we are urged to number our days before the Lord and seek God in his mercy in order to establish the work of our hands. These next 3 Sundays, we're going to look at 3 of the I am statements from the Gospel of John. In John chapter 6, Jesus says, I am the bread of life. In John chapter 10, Jesus teaches, I am the good shepherd. And in John chapter 15, Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. Now, each of these statements reveals a growing divide in the Gospel of John between those who follow Christ and believe in him and those who do not believe in Jesus and as a result do not follow him. But in addition to that divide, we're going to be looking at how does each of these metaphors that Jesus uses, these word pictures, how do they instruct us and strengthen us in our walk with God? Really, the intent of going through these passages is to strengthen our walk with God as we start the year 2023. And so as Jesus teaches, I am the good shepherd, I am the bread of life, we want to look at questions such as, how does a person spiritually feed on Jesus? How does a person see their thirst satisfied in Jesus? How do we listen to his voice as the good shepherd, and how do we follow his voice? How can we guard our lives against the wolves and other dangers that might threaten God's flock or the sheep? What does it mean to be part of God's flock? These are some of the questions that we're going to be answering over the next several weeks. And Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. Whoever remains in me, he will bear much fruit. And it says that God prunes the branches so that they will bear more fruit. Well, what does that look like in our lives when God does a pruning work? So those are the passages we're going to go through the next several weeks. And I encourage you, let's all of us read ahead of time, John chapter 6, John chapter 10, and John chapter 15. And let's look to Christ. He is our Savior, our Master, and our friend. And let's look to God and celebrate everything that God is for his children. I hope you can join us. God bless.